Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chair Yoga. We are into the month of November, and November is the month we have designated as a nation to give thanks. So I'm just reminding you to kind of keep at that idea of fostering gratitude in your life, to look for things that you're thankful for from the very tiniest incidental, daily events in your life that really do delight you and really do make your day better, that you can kind of be on the lookout for those kind of things and acknowledge that. So it just fills you. It just continues to fuel you with the idea of gratitude and the experience of it. There's a saying I don't know who to attribute to, but you've heard me say it before, that I just wanted to remind us of, and that is this: no amount of regret changes the past. No amount of anxiety changes the future, but any amount of gratitude changes the present. So let's begin with that. And I'm going to use the back. Get this, we're going to start in the push back into your chair. So as I usually suggest that you come forward and not use the backrest, I'm going to ask you actually to do just the opposite. So let's meet there. I want to use the chair a little differently to support more of your trunk, more of your legs, I should say, so that it supports more of your trunk as we begin, just to settle into our transitional time. And I'll get to the ways that I think this will be more supportive in just a moment. So just sit tall. You don't need to lean against it if you don't want to, but at least you've got your hips, your pelvis is right down back into it. So you do have additional leg support. Let's use the block between our thighs. And in this case, since I don't have that much room because of the different position, it's kind of between my knees, but nonetheless, it gives you that same experience of drawing in toward the midline. So let's begin closing the eyes and, just moving into this transitional time to be ready for our yoga experience. I want you to imagine that, you're a circle around you and that you are at the center of that. So if you can imagine that you are in the middle of a circle and that the very center of that circle is at the base of the spine. So we could call that our Mula Bandha, the base of the central channel. If it's easier for you to relate to more the navel area, that all works. But you get the idea. Let's imagine that the center of this circle that surrounds us is there. So I want you to just breathe in and out from that place so that you're trying to align yourself with your center. And this is a bodily reference. A lot of times I'm giving you some energetic, more ethereal kind of references to ourselves as we do our yoga practice. I'm really literally asking you to center to come into this with this physicality, that you are centering yourself in the base of the spine, but that you imagine that there is this circle that surrounds you. And then, of course, the circle has a circumference. And what we're going to try to do today is to reach toward that circumference from the center out. So all of the ideas of expansion, lengthening is going to come from that reference. Reach out, extend out toward the circumference of your circle. So let's connect with the fullness of our breath and its rhythm. And maybe just imagining that circle, not that you have to focus on it entirely, but that you just kind of buy into it. You're going to be aware that that's the idea today, and we're going to give that, our best shot here. And when you squeeze your block, you can feel your reference, can't you? You can feel in the body, actually, a felt experience, not something that you're imagining, the felt experience of that center. Now, the Durga breath, that's that 3-part breath, would really serve us well. So I want you to begin that, and just to remind you, it takes 3 layers of inhale before you've completed that full inhalation. So you inhale, maybe that starts in the very low belly. You give it more inhale, that's around the diaphragm area, base of your rib cage. And then the third layer of inhale is way up into the chest, right by your collarbone, you could think of it. So 3 layers to get to the full inhalation, and then let the breath come out in any way that feels natural to you. Out of the mouth, through your nose. Maybe you push it out like you're blowing out a candle. Any way that that exhale just will naturally, completely release. That's what you want. That feels comfortable, natural to you. So inhale now, use that Durga breath, 3 layers of breath to get you into the full inhalation. There's a bit of a pause, and then exhale it out completely. Keep eyes closed so you can really focus on what you're doing. Stay in your body. Focus on the breath. This is going to clear the mind. We're going to just clear the mind so we are ready and alert to the practice entirely. Whenever we do a more, I say complicated, but more a breath that requires more of our full participation because it's different from a normal breath rhythm. Whenever we use a pranayama like that, it always serves as a calming of the mind, a clearing of the mind. A couple more now, stay with it. And if you haven't already, let's turn palms up. Let the breath be as your breath is now. Keep your elbows squeezed in towards your waistline. Palms up gives us that gesture of receptivity, the mudra of receiving. So we use this to set our particular intention for class today. What do you need from your experience, from your willingness to be here and participate? You know, what called you? And so it is. Let's flutter the eyes open. And let's get prepared now to do a little centering using more of the chair. So I'm going to have us open up our arms into the T. Palms are down at this juncture. And I want you to just pull yourself away from center, just slightly over to the side. And as soon as you feel yourself listing, so that, you know, the sit bone or the butt cheek on the side that you're pulling away from starts to really lose ground, then you just call that's enough. You know, you're just trying to move. I think this is going to be more supportive. It's really good for core strength. I start with that. It's good for core strength to balance and use the whole trunk of the body for this kind of ability to find some buoyancy and flow in the body. But it might be for people whose backs are weak or sometimes had difficulty, some maybe injury to the back. This gives us a little more support to the back, the muscles of the back. So try to keep your head, neck, and spine in alignment. Just moving side to side. Let's just do a couple more. And then when we come back, literally lean back into the chair. Hands can be wherever you want. My suggestion is to your lap so your arms aren't so heavy alongside the frame of the chair, and literally get your back body into the backrest. And then, you know, sit up tall. How would you sit up tall by pressing yourself into the backrest? See what you can do there. And let's use this now to stretch the neck. I think too that we might find it to be more supportive. And so turn your head to look to your right, and even glance toward the screen, if you will, for a minute. You might even, when you're doing your stretch, to just, if you're tall like me, I'm just layering my arm over. I've got my armpit kind of locked into the chair, and that pulls my shoulder back nicely, but I'm very supported in the shoulder region. And I have found that gives me a little more support because I have such a very limited range of movement in my head and neck, especially in this direction. So I'm just offering you some different ways to do this next neck work that might give you more support. Remember, we've really got to use the breath here. You want to deepen the breath all the way through its cycle. And what we're doing whenever we're working on range of motion, no matter what limb or what joint we're working on, we're trying to push up against the range that we found. So don't stop your action before that. Come right up to the full range of movement. And then, of course, like I say, oftentimes you find a stop sign there, but go right up to the stop sign and then start working it, breathing, gently moving your head in various ways that you can feel sensation. It feels positive, though. It's a positive kind of stretch. I always say, there's difference between a pain, outright pain, and the intensity of a stretch. We're looking for that. We're looking for the intensity of a stretch and work with that now. Breathe into it. Don't be afraid to give your full breath to the movement. Remember to exhale completely. And then turn your head out of it. So I've got myself set up for a bit of a twist by looping my arm around the back of the chair. I'm going to turn my head out of it first. My shoulders stayed back though. And then I'm going to come back to neutral and let's just roll the shoulders, kind of reset the body. So gentle shoulder rolls. And let your head move as your head wants to move. You can trust your body on that. You can trust that you don't have to put the brakes on. You're rolling your shoulders and your neck, your head just wants to sort of move with it, finds some non-linear movement, they call that in the yoga world these days, that we're always trying to invite in the movement the body just craves. And then let's, lean back into that backrest again, sit up tall and go the other way for your finding the range of movement on this side. This side for me has a lot more flexibility. I still think I'm going to wrap my arm around it just for good measure. It does feel good to do that. Remember to keep your head fairly neutral. Try not to lift your chin. Try not to tuck your chin. The jawline should be sort of parallel to the floor. And then find your rhythm of movement and invite, again, nonlinear movement. Invite the gentle movements of the head that gives you more sensation, but it feels good. It feels like a good stretch, even though it may be intense in some ways. Exhale completely. It's always good, right? It's always good yoga when we can remember to do that. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. If we have tension in the face and the mouth, then this kind of defeats the purpose of trying to find greater range of movement through our neck because we've already got a roadblock up. Now, see if you can just unwind your head from that. Your shoulder may stay back if that's how you've got yourself set up. And then we'll release so we're fully forward. Now we can do those shoulder rolls again. And also, let's move forward on the chair so we are not using the backrest now. So you've got your feet firmly planted and you're using the block between your thighs to identify that mula bandha, the base of the perineum, the base of the central channel. Let's begin now with some movements up and down through the shoulder joints. So no movement in the spine, really. Let's just lift up, inhale, and exhale down. Remember that center of the circle? Can you locate that? And that you feel when you're lifting up, for sure that you can feel you're reaching toward the circumference of the circle. And maybe we can feel it the same way, only it's the circumference of the circle on its downside. Just imagine that. Just see if you can feel some expansion just by using an image like that. And really keeping yourself engaged in that center. So we're engaging the mula bandha, squeezing the block, and that's really keeping our body focused on that point of center as an anchor. as a source of strength and stability. This is done as a flow of vinyasa, so find your breath that matches up. You don't have to match up with my movement. You're always matching up with your breath. Let's take a big T. Hands are facing forward. Palms, I should say, are facing forward. I'm opening up the hands into a big starfish. Let's open and close now. Pull those arms back. Exhale, round the back body and bring palms together. So use this as our cat and cow. Open is the cat extension. Round through the back body for the C-shaped curve of the cat. And that's the close. Open is inhale. Exhale is closing. So let your spine move with this. Let your head move as it feels comfortable and natural to do. Try to exaggerate the movement. And even here, even now, can you find the center of our circle and use that as a source of stability while your arms are moving in the range of the circumference? And not just your arms, but you feel your whole body opening to reach toward that circumference of this imaginary circle. Last time, open and close. Bring your palms together in the prayer position. Now, I'll give you a little side view. Your thumbs are sticking up. I want you to just lean back, squeeze that block like crazy. Lean your chest back ever so slightly. Look straight ahead at the thumbs as you're just holding yourself in this dolphin position, I think we call it. Squeeze the block. You feel your core strength. Palms are touching and they're really coming together with some strength. Exhale completely. When you release, we're going to find the cactus arms. And I want you to find the open and close with that. Keep your elbows elevated to the height of your armpits. Open is an inhale, closing is the exhale. Try to bring everything together there. Open now, let's just hold that. Find your open position. I want you to drop your fingertips down. So keep your elbows held at shoulder height, bent elbows at shoulder height, and we're just lifting up and down with the hands. See what you can soften, because it's tempting to get all crampy and tight in the shoulders. We're trying to lose that. Let those shoulder blades drop down and see if you can find a more fluid movement here. Even though initially it feels real awkward and cumbersome, maybe we can talk ourselves into loosening up and finding this more fluid. And when we come out of this, take a moment now, lift your elbows and feel that. And then when you come out of it, go super slow so that you can really literally feel the release in every part of your body, how your arms now release and relax, and all of that tension and constriction that you had to use to keep them up there, you have released. Let's do the shoulder rolls the other way, and it's one at a time. So you're literally trying to spread your shoulder blades apart. So one at a time is moving. Hands alongside the frame of the chair or hands on your lap. Hands on your lap will be a way to modify for you. So it's not quite as much effort. And now let's change the direction. And when you roll back, I want you to roll back and allow yourself to turn. Your head, I should say. Turn. You want to get into the next movement now. As you roll that shoulder back, you're turning to the same side, letting your head look over to that side, turning and feeling that in your neck. It feels really good for me. I'm feeling like we're onto something here. This feels like I've got a nice fluid movement. It feels much more free. I'm so glad of that. So just see if you can follow me now and just let those shoulders pull you back and you turn to look in that direction. Let's do one more on each side. Good. Shrug and release. So we'll just shrug those shoulders and release and feel that release of that tension. Now it just gives us just a boost of softness and relaxation when we do that. Good. Let's get the block underneath our legs now, or excuse me, underneath the chair. I'm going to move into a sequence here. We haven't done exactly this, but something similar. So let's give it a go. You can hold on to the chair. And again, for those of you who have back injuries or your backs are, weaker, it's weaker muscles back there, and you just know you need more support, you're definitely going to be one that's holding on to the chair. If that's not entirely true for you, that you feel, you got pretty good strength in your back and you want to work on your core strength, you may decide then to not use the chair so much and maybe have your hands at your waist or your hips. So choose what seems best, and you can always do both. You could do a little bit. Let's just start with holding onto the chair, and if it feels okay, then you'll try it. So I want you to draw your left leg way off from center, way off from center, and bring it all the way over to cross on top of your standing leg. So we bring it way off and bring it all the way back, and it crosses on top. We're going to do several of these. Just keep your body upright. Don't cave in. And look out. Don't look at your legs moving. Let's just keep our head supported, the neck supported by keeping our head up. Big wide step and cross it over. Last time, when you cross it over, let's meet there. So cross it over. I'm kind of located to the side of my chair. I'm not centered. And that's where I'd like you to be. So you're kind of onto that right side of your chair. Squeeze those thighs together. What does this invite right away? Got our legs crossed. Let's turn away from the crossed legs. Let's turn away and find a little twist. Remember, you want a verticality of your spine. So we're going to need to make that happen. Just left without any awareness of that, we'd probably be leaning from a little bit to the side. So see if you can find the verticality of your spine, balance in your pelvis. Use your chair in any way that serves you. Hold on to it. Maybe you like that idea of pressing the back of your hand into the back body to create your twist. Create it the way it feels best for you, gives you the best access. And how we can tell is the smoothness of the breath. We're always working now. Can you imagine that circumference of the circle? So there's no limb extending out toward it. So it's just us energetically expanding toward that circumference. From the base of the spine outward, we're expanding as we twist. Exhale completely. Let's unwind the head and then the shoulders. And then from here, I want you to come into your figure 4. So we'll probably center that standing foot. It's more centered with our body. And let's start by massaging like we always do. So we want to get rid of some of the initial resistance. Keep your body upright. See if you can find balance in your pelvis. Here we hike the leg up, so it might feel quite off balance, and I want you to work on centering that, aligning that, righting that, even though it might not be perfect, but at least you've made the effort to right align within your pelvis, left to right. Let's get into the foot with our massaging as well. I want you to get your fingers in between your toes. This probably seems incidental to some of you. You think, I just hate it when she does that. It's so boring. But we got to take care of our feet, folks. That is our best tool in our balancing endeavor. As we age and we want to make sure we have all the skills and our body parts are working well for us to help us stay balanced. Well, your feet have to be supple and strong and not wooden and tight. So we've got to really work and take good care of your feet. Get proper shoes, fit, all that stuff matters a great deal. So let's give ourselves a little A little massage of the foot, include your toes. We're going to, once you've completed that, let's just let our hands come right past our shin. Now find your sit bones, ground into both sides of the sit bones, both sides of your pelvis. You're feeling that because right away in this body I'm operating from, I can feel a stretch immediately. I can feel a stretch immediately. So folding forward is just adds to that. But I was already feeling a stretch as soon as I came into it, and especially when I started feeling the grounding I needed to find within my sit bones, right to left into the buttocks. Make sure there's no tension in your mouth. If you find it creeping in, that's probably telling you don't go there. You're getting too deep. So make sure your breath is smooth and that you're able to just stay with that fluid breath all the way through the exhale. Use your body parts. I'm just using my elbow and forearm to kind of press into that. Gives me a little more access. A lot of sensation. Oh, be sure to flex that foot. That top foot should be flexed. That protects your knee. We're going to cradle the baby here. So let's see if we can fold into that leg and scoop it up. Get a good handle with your hand on your ankle and your foot, your heel. And then your other arm can hold your knee and your shin kind of as a combination. Let's rock it. That's our cradling action. But I also want you to include or at least invite, because it's not just side to side, is what I'm getting at. It doesn't have to be side to side exclusively. It could be forward and back. So just explore all of that. Cradle the baby in all different ways. And just be aware of the center of the body that we've identified, and that you're moving within. You're probably within the circumference, but you're in the space of the circle. And you're just sort of exploring that space. Make sure your head is held properly so there's no strain for your neck. Good. And then let's just come back and let it rest in its figure 4 position and take a moment to let your body reset. What we're going to do before we move to the other side is a form of abdominal bracing. I'm going to turn to the side for you. You don't need to make any changes at all, but I'm going to give you a side view so you'll know what I'm asking of us. We're going to get a hold of the shin of that cross leg and hug the knee into the chest by way of the shin. And it's very important that you do that. It's not your kneecap, it's your shin. And then I want you to extend your other leg straight out. Heel is down, toes are up. So you've got a straight leg out and a bent knee pulling in. Now here's where the abdominal bracing really comes in. Now the foot on the floor is flexed. So that's going to mean your leg muscles, your leg on that extended leg, that's really turned on. You're not just laying it out there like a rag doll, but it's very engaged in its own way. Now you're pulling into your shin, and then your shin is pushing back. That's where the bracing comes in. So can be quite intense in your hands and arms, because that's what's holding all of that tension. But I want you to do your best to push your shin right into your hands, and your hands are pulling right back. What happens often, in case you come into this, is that your leg will start shaking. That bent knee leg will start shaking. That isn't mean problem. That isn't like that's trouble, isn't it? It is not trouble. It's you shaking out some of that stale energy in your leg, and it just does it. It's the invitation is there, so it starts leaving. So if you find any shaking happen, and if you don't find any shaking, don't worry. Like I guess I wasn't strong enough. Don't worry about it. It'll happen when it needs to happen. But if you do encounter that shaking, don't be concerned. It's a good thing. Now keep pressing your shin into your hands, and your hands are pulling right back. That's the abdominal bracing. Make sure your head and neck in line with the spine, no strain in your neck. Let's give it 2 more full breath cycles. And then we're going to just soften and relax out of that. I need to massage my hands because I'm really gripping on that. So I encourage you to move through your hands, take care of the joints. And we're going to go back now to the other side. So we have a little wider angle. Get your left foot out more toward the side by the leg of the chair. And this is the one where we start way over here and have to cross it over top. So you extend it out to the side and cross it over top. I'm just got my hands on my thighs this time. Last time I was holding the chair. So again, you're just finding too what works well for you, what you know you have the strength and capacity for. Let's keep ourselves upright. Don't cave in your chest. And just find a rhythm here that suits you. And you don't feel like you've lost your breath, and no, your breath is keeping up with this movement. Let's do it one more time. Cross over and hold it there. Bring your foot kind of closer to the chair so those knees are really bent. And here's our twist opportunity. So you're simply going to squeeze those thighs together. Find your Mula Bandha. Find that base, that center of our body. And rotate around. Now we have to balance into the pelvis so that we're not leaning. We want to find a verticality of our spine. This always gives me an opportunity when I feel it, I say it. That's my method of teaching. When I feel it, I speak about it. And that is that it might be different on one side than the other. This is my side that gives me all kinds of restriction. So I'm meeting that. Find that balance right to left in those sit bones. That's a really good strategy. And then move away from that into the twist, just finding your ability to, you're looking for a stop sign and you're certainly going to honor that stop sign, but you want to go right up to it if you can, right up to it and breathe there. Feel there, feel your shoulder, feel how your neck turns. Are you able to lift your chest up? Deepen the breath if you can. And whenever you can. Maybe you start off kind of struggling, there's a little resistance. No shame with that, no judgment about that. That's what it took. It took you a little bit to get situated and find your way. And there's my smooth breath. And we'll unwind the head first, and then the shoulders. And we're coming into our figure 4. So you're kind of centering your standing leg. And we're going to start massaging. Keep balanced in your pelvis. So you're mindful of that. Flex that foot. I don't want to forget to tell you that. That's how we're going to try to leave it, is in a flex position. So I know we're going to massage here in a bit, but just didn't want to forget to mention that. Yeah, so massaging includes your feet, includes your toes. Be a real good foot massager. You want to give yourself a top quality massage here. So get in there. Put your fingers in between your toes, create some space there. And then when you're ready, we're going to drape our hands past our shin, ground into those sit bones, both sides. And the direction forward, remember, always comes from the chest bone. It's not your face. You're not pulling your head out of alignment with the spine. No, no, no. Let's keep the head aligned with the spine. Chest bone will do the trick. Fold forward, breathe. Any creative ways that your body just sort of folds into itself, supports itself, maybe continues to massage itself. All good. Try to deepen your breath now. See how that feels. I know, and I'm acknowledging that a deeper breath invites more sensation, and sometimes you're not up for it, but I'm just encouraging you to go for it. Don't be afraid of those deeper, more intense sensations now and again. Breathe into it. We're going to cradle the baby. So you're going to need to get a hold of that leg like you did. So maybe you're just holding on with your hand to the ankle and the heel. So you got really a good, solid and supportive way to hold and support your ankle. And then your other arm will wrap around your knee in some way so it can hold the rest of you. So we're rocking or cradling the baby. And remember, we're going to go side to side, but also inviting a forward and back movement. So don't limit yourself in any way. Find as much range of movement as you can, including pulling your leg way over past the center point. So we're working inside the circle and we're trying to cover as much ground as possible. And feel the sensation that goes along with it. Standing leg is really just that. It's going to stay put. So we've got a good foundation here. And let's lay it back into the figure 4 position. Take a little pause. And we're going to do the abdominal bracing action on this side. So I want you to grab hold of your shin, pull that foot way in, extend the other leg straight out. So heel is down, toes are up. And now the bracing is that you're pulling in on your shin and your shin is pushing right back into your hands. Keep your spine erect, softness about the neck, and then push into your hands. This side's just shaking for me. The other one I didn't feel it, but I definitely have it going on here. Deepen your breath. Keep working it. Really good for strengthening the overall integrity of your abdominals. Excellent, excellent. Let's hug that knee into the chest, get both feet back to the floor, and take a little pause here. Inhale with me, palms come together overhead, look up if that feels good. Reach up. That's, of course, we're breathing in and out here. Reach up. I just remembered the circumference. So as we're reaching up, we're extending toward that circumference. Exhale as you bow into your heart. Inhale up again. Find that circumference now as you extend those arms all the way around. All the way around. Let's get our block now. Grab hold of your block and open up. Your left leg is opening out to a rotation, an external rotation off to the side, and your other leg is going to stay forward facing, but let's do something different here. Bent knee, straight leg. Straight leg is forward, and the bent knee is to the side. So they'll give us some different sensation. Heel down, toes up. I want you to, let's work on the toes here just for a moment before we get into anything. Spread your toes apart, kind of make a fist with your foot, work it out. Point, flex. I don't think you need a visual here. You know what I'm talking about. Work your foot, kind of spread your toes, point, and then like you're making a fist, you're just drawing your toes in, bending at those joints. Good, just didn't want to overlook that. Let's take our block and use it as a mechanism of stretching away from center. So I've got the block on its short end, and I'm going to reach in front of my left side here, reach as far in front of my toes as I can. Keep my bottom on the chair, so I keep my center located right into the chair seat, and I'm extending out to the circumference of the circle here. Manage the weight of your head, no strain in the neck. Keep your chin kind of tucked in towards your throat. Stretch out to the circumference. One more full breath. See if there's a center point between your two legs. If you can stretch out to the circumference there, center point. Manage the weight of your head, no strain in the neck. Let's give that a couple breaths. Whole trunk of your body is reaching out toward the circumference. And finally, we're going to move toward the straight leg. I couldn't get in front of my foot, but I'm alongside it. One hand at a time will come to your thighs so you can release the block and bring yourself upright. Let's take a pause right here. Good, then let's just set it up for the other side. Get your block handy. Take that wide angle. This knee stays bent, front leg is straight, heel down, toes up. Work on your foot. Spread your toes, make a fist of that. Point, flex. So you're working your ankle, you're working your toes, stretch it out. Maybe it's a good time to catch up with your breath. Work on your foot. We'll leave it now, toes, heels down and toes are up. So you just have a flex foot. Let's get a hold of the block. We're going to come over to that bent knee side and extend your body. And think of it that way, that you're reaching your trunk of your body away from center out toward the circumference. Keep yourself situated on the chair. You're not losing the chair underneath you. You feel it. Breathe. No strain in the neck. Feel the expansion out and away from center in all sorts of ways. Come to the center between your legs now. Move your block to place it somewhere between your legs. And again, we're reaching out from center. Foot is flexed, toes up on that extended leg, and the other foot's just planted. Nice source of stability and ground. And make your way to the extended leg. Again, I can't get in front of my foot, but I can get alongside it. And can you feel yourself? Maybe you have to wiggle a little bit so that you feel like you're still planted into that chair seat. Those sit bones are grounded. Let's leave the block one hand at a time and bring your hands to your thighs so you can come upright. Let's take a little pause. And then we're going to get both feet towards center. Bring yourself back to center now. And let's prepare to do some standing movements. So I want you to just lean back, get your feet up off the floor and come up. Do that a couple times where you lean back, get your feet up. And then let's, maybe the last time here, the third time, we'll lift up all the way to a standing position. I'm going to back up just a bit. So find mountain pose. Get your feet hips distance apart. Pull the belly in and get your hands now alongside your body, palms face forward. Open up your chest. Let's open the eyes now and find a focal point. So find a drishti. You're going to stare at something kind of at the horizon level. And then deepen the breath. Let's soften those knees. Remember, we don't want to have locked knees in this, but everything else feels very strong, very upright. Now find a breath that feels like your whole body's breathing. And before we move on, I want you to buzz your lips. So stand tall on your mountain if you're comfortable with that. And just as you exhale, buzz it out your lips so you feel the vibration in your mouth. You feel it particularly in your lips. So you're just taking that breath in and then boom, but just like a bee buzz, just let it vibrate in your lips. Just a few more breaths like that. Just buzz around into your mouth, knowing what you're doing is vibrationally exceptionally good for you. It's good for the vagal tone primarily, but buzz that out. Boom. Boom. It's a nice release. Just really get strong about it. Like it buzzes out with some force. You got it. All right. Let's use our chair to support some walking movements. So I want us to develop some balancing skills here, but we're going to use it in motion primarily. And so we're just going to have the chair alongside us so we could use it for support if we want. Don't have to if you don't want to. So standing leg is near the chair, standing leg near the chair. So the walking leg or the stepping leg is away from the chair. So that's all I want you to do is step forward and back. Start to step, look out. You can't look at your feet. Let's not do that. Look out and away. And see as if you step forward, you can feel the back leg kind of lift up. So, you take a step forward. And if you were going to take another step, of course, your leg, your foot would have to come off the ground. So I want you to encourage that. You take a step forward and you let that left foot lift. Take a step forward, it lifts a little bit, you're back. Nothing to it. Stay with it. Keep going. And then the next time you take a step forward and that back foot came up, I want you to lift it up and hold it. Hands are at your waist, or you can be holding onto the chair. So you might have to relocate yourself so you're really close to the chair. One-legged balance, take a pause as you breathe in and out. Feel the strength of the standing leg, strength of your ankles, strength of your foot, and both feet to the floor. Let's try a tree pose here, a little different variation. So before we switch sides, might as well do our tree right here. I want you to take a high knee up. I've got a hand on the chair. I want to get settled here. High knee up, flex foot, and draw that away from center. And that's a variation of the tree pose. The tree pose often has the foot leaning against the leg. I want the foot out there, free flow. And then see what you can do with your arms, maybe a little reaching toward circumference. Maybe one hand on the chair will give you better access to that. You see what you can do. I want you to be mindful of your back, your particular strength and the stability you need in your back. Find a breath. Find a drishti. And we'll come out and shake that all out. I'm going to relocate myself a little bit. So I've got the standing leg near the chair. We got to switch sides. So this is, we begin by walking. So maybe you got to just catch up with your breath a bit. You can always use the chair. Standing leg is near the chair and the walking leg is the one outside of that. So you're just stepping forward with your other leg now. That's all there is to it. It's just stepping. But I want you to notice how your back foot does lift up, and I want you to encourage that. It lifts up. It's just the natural tendency of a step. Step forward, notice the lift, and bring yourself right back. Stay with it, keep going. Find a drishti that'll help you balance. Step forward now and lift intentionally. So you got your right heel, your right foot is completely off the floor. You're balancing entirely on your left leg. Now stand tall. Both feet to the floor. And we're going to come into our tree pose, a little modified tree pose. If you still need to catch up with your breath, sorry for kind of speeding us along here. High knee forward and angle it off or rotate it into an external position. You can always use the chair to support. And then the arms are extending out toward the circumference. Find your center now. Pull in toward the belly button or navel area. Pull up from the mula bandha at the base of the spine or the perineum. One more full breath. And let's come out of that and shake it. Let's turn toward the chair. We've got the high side of the chair available to us. Let's give it a good stretch into that L-shaped stretch. I want your arms passing right by your ears. Essentially the same distance you have between your hands is what you want between your feet. Pull back through the buttocks. This is a chance to really straighten the knees. There's no harm in stretching that, stretching into your hamstrings and into the calves of your legs and stretching through the bent knee. So if you can straighten it out, that'd be great. Not required, but don't be afraid of it. See if you can get a little movement side to side, get a little loose in your hips where the hips can sway side to side. Wag your tail. Let's deepen the breath. Pull the chin in towards your throat. Now feel your feet and including your toes making an imprint on this floor. Deepen the breath while you press your toes into the floor. Your whole foot presses. in an effort to straighten the bend of the knee, any amount. Sometimes that might shake too. I just thought of that. Sometimes you might find when you're trying to straighten out your legs, it'll shake and you'll think that's problematic. It really is not. So I just want to encourage you to try to override that. All right, it's time for Shavasana. So I'm going to have you bring yourself back into your chair and get your props. My props these days where I'm located includes a shawl. So I'm going to get that. So I want you to sit back into your chair and get all of the support you need. Maybe you're going to get socks on your feet or something comfortable that you like to, like a pillow or a cushion behind you, something like that. And if you haven't moved all that you need to, what if there's a pose you need to do, you didn't work out something, there's like, gosh, I still need to do some stretching here. I can just tell. Please do it. Don't miss that part. Just let yourself stretch out and then come to Shavasana when your body is ready to do it. Be really compassionate about listening to our bodies, honoring what we find. So as we start to quiet down, it's not unusual for us to be on the go, that our mind already is saying, this is almost over. I know what I'm going to do next, and here I go. And then you've lost it. You've lost your meditation time. You've lost your serenity here. So I'm going to encourage you to stay with your body, stay with your breath for a few more minutes. Use the mantra if that's helpful for you. Use the words that keep you anchored, whatever that might be. There's only about 1,000, and that's no exaggeration, yoga mantras to be used. And I stick with the very basic awareness of the breath in and out. But if you're interested in that kind of thing, believe me, they're out there. Let your body start just surrendering to the support of the chair, that you're no longer trying to support your body in its upright position. You're letting the chair hold you entirely. And stay alert enough to that process that you can feel that, you can feel the benefit of that, you can feel the shift. Very engaged and, in charge of how your body is being held, to releasing that, surrendering that. As an act of kindness, as an act of generosity to your body, to just, be completely released and relaxed for a while. Stay with it. Remember to soften your mouth, relax your facial muscles. You don't need tension anywhere now. You don't need it. Let's all land in the mantra of calm and ease. Inhale the word calm. Exhale ease. And then let yourself feel the calm and feel the ease in your body. The poem I'm reading today is called Birthright. Despite illness of body or mind, in spite of blinding despair or habitual belief, who you are is whole. Let nothing keep you separate from this truth. The soul, illumined from within, longs to be known for what it is. Undying, untouched by fire or the storms of life, there is a place inside where stillness and abiding peace reside. You can ride the breath to go there. Despite doubt or hopeless turns of mind, you are not broken. Spirit surrounds, embraces, fills you from the inside out. Release everything that isn't your true nature. What's left, the fullness, light, and shadow, claim all that as your birthright. Feel the calm and ease in your body. Stay with it. And now let's take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale it out of your mouth with the sound of a big sigh. I encourage you to do a couple of those, 2, 3, whatever your body needs to clear. This is our transitional time out of our yoga practice. Cleansing, clearing. Feeling refreshed, I hope. Feeling invigorated. Remember what we can expect from yoga, which we get from our teacher of Deepak Chopra, is a vibrant and healthy body, an alert and focused mind, a loving and compassionate heart, and lightness of being. I hope that is true for you today. Join me as we close, bringing our arms up and reaching up toward our circumference now, bringing palms together overhead. Exhale as you bring your hands to your heart. Inhale back up, and exhale. We'll share that beautiful, loving, and grateful energy all around the community in which we live. Hands come to the prayer position. We bow to ourselves and we bow to one another. Namaste, my friends. Thank you for joining me.